pity will is it not our people to bring so much shame upon
Destiny awaits.
And I think the most stressful part was going to Edinburgh, trying to get the play to go to Edinburgh, because once he had that idea in his head, he had to make it happen. That was it. Once he saw Iniquity being performed in the Edinburgh Fringe, he had to make that happen. There was no way that he wasn't going to make that happen.
I'm Shelley. The reason why I became interested in the play was through social media. A cast member was talking about the play. He was talking about the fact that they were all self-funding. They were going to Edinburgh and how they needed sponsorship. And for me, I wanted to sponsor because realistically, you're looking at people's dreams. You are looking at people that have just gone through COVID and they needed some help, and I wanted to help.
So we still hadn't secured all the funds, and I'd had the meeting with the bank. We were still exploring all options with the funding committee. On top of the fact that we had the performances imminently. The opening performance was back at the Princess Royal Theatre now on the 27th of July. And then we had on the 28th of July the performance at the Red House in Merthyr. And then a week later we were off to Edinburgh. And the two main deadlines for major payments was the 31st of July and the 4th of August. Then on the 26th of July, the eve before, the dress rehearsal, but the evening before the opening preview performance at the Princess Royal, two key sponsors came on board. One was a lady that I'd never met before, who was following us on social media, who'd already contributed quite a large sum of money to the crowdfunding campaign, but then went ahead and put in thousands of pounds. And that was Shelley Joyner. And we talk about Iniquity Camwedd being a family. I've also spoken about when you take on board projects like this, how it really strips people down to their bare bones. For somebody who had never met me, to have so much faith and trust in this project that I was so passionate about. Shelley always sort of blows it off and says, well, giving money is easy. If it wasn't for people like Shelley, we could have never realised our dream. And her generosity, we've since become firm friends. She's come to visit us in Wales and met Beatrice, and came to the performance at the Princess Royal on the 27th of July. And yeah, these people who have just invested so much into this project has made us a family.
I'm not a rich person. I'm a carer. I knew the cast were wanting to raise a lot of money. I knew they were struggling. I knew they were struggling to fund this project, and I really wanted them to get to Edinburgh. So for me, it was a chance of Stuart going to Edinburgh without getting a loan out. He has a wife, he has a young baby, he has commitments. I wanted him to go to Edinburgh, his dream, to enjoy that experience. I know that he was just so looking forward to it. Also, I was thinking of the cast. They would have to take holiday. They were funding themselves. It could be that they were on a low wage and they were struggling financially. And I wanted to help them out. So slowly, bit by bit, I kept on increasing my sponsorship to the point where I couldn't actually go any further. I really wanted to go so much further because I so believe in this project, and I so believe in the hard work and what they are doing. So that's why I sponsored. I've never done anything like this before. I took a risk. I didn't know any of these people, but I was so drawn in and I was so enamoured, and I felt so passionate and emotional towards the people who wanted to bring forth this true story. And I was probably in quite an emotional state because of my father dying, and I remember coming back from his funeral on a Friday night, having a quick word with Stuart, checking the crowdfunding page regularly. I did that throughout, constantly checking it, thinking, can we get a bit more? Can we get a bit more? And then I just popped in my little anonymous donation, and yeah, Stuart thanked me. And that meant the world. I probably will never do any of this again, but I'm really glad I did it, and I'm really, really glad I took the risk, because Iniquity has changed my life as well.
The other large portion of money which was invested was from a local businessman, local to Talbot, by the name of Professor Sir Christopher Evans. I'd met Chris working through my various contacts with rugby. So we'd reached out to him. He's a self-made millionaire, but he's made all his millions through biochemistry and science. Very proud and passionate Welshman, proud of Talbot, loves his rugby, but had no real vested interest in the arts. And then out of the blue, wrote us a cheque for several £1,000s and made this dream a reality.
At the time when I started, I already had pre-booked holidays with the family, and because of my service within the NHS, unfortunately I couldn't get that 2 weeks off, so it was a real blow for myself, because I wanted to be part of that. So that's why I took up the role to ensure that we raised those funds with the support of local community and charities and businesses within the area, and we made it happen. So that was sort of my legacy, to ensure that this performance hit the world stage in Edinburgh.
We met up for our first writers' meeting. Before we even started, Stuart played us a song by Martin Joseph, the ballad of Dick Penderyn, and he said that this was going to be inspirational for us.
A senseless slaughter, one soldier wounded in the thigh, and he later swore on oath at the trial. He said Dick Penderyn was simply not the guy. Oh, he had stood for everything they wanted, and he rose up with his people on that day. Well, it could not have been he that harmed that soldier. Some man with a grudge put him away. They said, we'll stitch you up.
So throughout this journey, one of the exceptional experiences that I've personally had is seeing a group of people come together and, as I said, create something which is just absolutely extraordinary. From people who are supposedly ordinary people. I'm very seldom blown away by anything really in life. But I can remember when we performed the dress rehearsal on the day that we secured the last pieces of funding on the 26th of July, we walked into the Princess Royal Theatre, and there's a grand piano there. And Dean Lawrence, who was one of the new members of the cast from 21-22, a member of Tai Bach's Panto, an all-round good guy, sat down at the piano before we were about to start, and we had the BBC there covering the dress rehearsal, and it was a real buzz of excitement and energy around the room. And Dean just started playing the most exquisite piano music, and everyone just stopped and stared. And it epitomised for me what Iniquity Camwedd represented. It was a group of people coming together and creating something so special and blowing everyone away.
Yeah, one thing that does strike a chord with me Wasn't anything to do with the actual performance, but this was quite an interesting turning point for me before we all started the proper run of shows. So we were all gathered in the Princess Royal Theatre the morning of our dress rehearsal, and of course it was one of the first times that we all really kind of all got together essentially and got a chance to see who's who and what's this about, what are the people like. And we were all gathered there, and of course all different types of people, some professional actors, people doing community projects, all different types of people. And we all sat now in the Princess Royal Theatre, waiting for people to arrive. And so Princess Royal Theatre, there was a little grand piano just the back of the auditorium, and I can't walk past a piano or an organ. I just can't walk past one. And I saw this piano, and a lovely piano, nice Steinway. So I thought, everyone was talking amongst themselves and getting on. So let's have a little play now. Let's see what this piano's are. And especially being in Steinway, just couldn't resist. So I pulled back the sheets, pulled up a stool, and started playing some nice stuff for Penderyn and Audi. And it was phenomenal. I started playing, and I could hear everyone's conversation drop to all, just the silence that I was playing. I caught on this was happening, and I thought, so I was playing, it was dead silence, and for me it's quite normal just to have a play and make some nice music. But for a lot of people there, and I didn't know this till much later, but for a lot of people there, that meant something, and it's difficult to put into words, but the simple act of me just going to play a couple of notes could halt a room to nothing and bring everyone together. And I think that's one of the messages from this, that we all were together doing this. We went through the hardships together, but we went through the good times together, and that's what sums it up for me.
It's an evening I will never, ever forget. The cast, the play, the story, everything touched my heart. I walked into the theatre to a male voice choir, to the buzz of the reception, to this packed audience. And the actual acting, the story was outstanding.
of 1831, 10,000 workers marched as one, an insurrection had begun to end the debt of slavery. Iron workers and miners came, and labourers to break the chains, united in their common claim. A